There's a lot of anecdotal advice around on improving your marriage. But if you want something you can really use that will actually make a difference and reignite your marriage, check out the link in the description below.
The question, what are the top things that a new couple should focus on early in their marriage? Answer by Doug Army. Before my wife and I married, every available moment we spent together. We passionately loved each other. Just couldn't get enough. Then we married, and something about 24/7 together, shall we say, dampened the flames. We made decisions together, took care of each other, paid bills, grocery shopped, fixed cars, did chores, and a whole list of less than passion-filled things together. Often we were so exhausted by the end of the day we had little interest in passion. We mostly needed sleep. Would clash over some insignificant issue, then struggle to feel in love for a day, and occasionally say things we later regretted. Often we were so busy we struggled just to find time to be together. The flames waned, and in its place crept in a kind of glow. I think it surprised us, caught us unaware, but we did something about it. See, when we married, we not only committed to each other for life but really meant it. So we thought, well, this is our one shot. No do-overs, no mulligans. So let's make it great. And we did. We planned date nights for just the two of us. Dinner, movies, plays, the symphony. We took romantic weekends to the coast, strolling the beach hand in hand, candlelit dinners lingering over wine, and well, shall we say, just enjoying each other. But more than that, we built in purposely loving each other every day. Hugs and kisses, holding hands and saying, I love you often, and frankly learning to disagree without being disagreeable. In other words, arguing about an issue while still treasuring each other. In a sense, purposely doing all the things to show love that we had done naturally in passion before we married. And amazingly, the more we did that, the more the passion reappeared. Not long ago, after a friend passed away, my wife and I were talking about his widow one Sunday at brunch. We sipped coffee, enjoying the spring afternoon, looking out on the garden from our eating nook. I said, really, if something happened to you, I don't think I'd get married again. I mean, I might enjoy having someone to talk to over dinner occasionally, but I can't imagine getting married. Yeah, I don't think I would either. Too much baggage, she responded. Oh, and I can't imagine having lived this life without you, I went on. I mean, I really can't. I feel the same, she replied. Besides, you're really a catch, I continued. Me, well, let's just say, probably not as much. I'm just glad I tricked you into marrying me. She laughed and said, I'm glad too. Building love takes doing the things you did in passion when the flames of passion subdue. Answer by, you're on your Govic. Sex is definitely important, but that's not all. As someone who's been happily married for 6 years, here's 5 major things I recommend. Communication. The sex is going to be there already if you just got married, but communication takes plenty of time and work. Guys want to fix problems. Women want to tell you about their day and are not necessarily looking for you to fix anything. This all sounds so simple, but trust me, if you can say to yourself, she just wants me to listen, then it will help things tremendously. Roles and rules of marriage. It's important to build rules and routines together. Rules can also mean having a clear understanding of whose job it is to do whatever is required around the house, i.e., taking out the garbage, changing light bulbs, buying detergent. When you live together, you're basically in a partnership that has many unspoken rules. For instance, my wife must have the kitchen clean at all times. So, I make sure it's clean by the time she gets home from work. I.e., I work from home lots and she works later in the evenings than me. I could leave the kitchen messy, but even been down that road. Trust me, it's not worth it. But if you're compromising for your partner on a clean kitchen, make sure they know it, so that if you need them to adjust their behavior on something, they know it's only fair. It's give and take, and clear discussions on who does what reduces stress so you can enjoy each other's company, and fight less. Routines are important. They can be as simple as having breakfast and dinner together. It can also mean going to bed together at the same time. We all have busy lives, but if we're not taking time to connect with each other, with the person we love, and if we don't create the right habits daily, then this can lead to unhealthy actions that disconnect us. Understand that marriage is a journey, not a destination. Once you're married, you start a new journey with someone you love. You'll grow together and you'll grow apart in some ways too. It's not realistic to think otherwise. But it's important that you loop back to recommendation 1 above, communication. That you talk about the future together, think about and plan goals so that you're not blindsided one day by your wife announcing that she's leaving for 2 years to work for a humanitarian NGO out of Africa. If you're talking and planning things out together, you'll be stronger for it. Patience in blowing out your candles. It takes a long time for us to get to know ourselves, let alone who our partners are. And as per number 4 above, we all change too. So when you're upset that your partner might not be listening to you, or they're not sure what they want to do with their futures, understand it's your job to support them, and stay patient with them. Blowing out your candles. This one a good buddy of mine, Craig Trillett, mentioned a while back. He uses this with his kids, but it definitely works for all of us. Think about your breathe right now. How shallow are you breathing? Now, take a deep breath. H. Hold it for a few seconds and exhale slowly. Repeat this 5 times, and hold your fingers in front of your face like you were blowing out 5 candles. Drop one finger after completing each breath. How do you feel now? Calmer? A bit more at ease? This really just a meditation technique that is used to help relieve the body of tension and stress, but trust me, it works if you find yourself upset with your husband or wife and you want to say something that might not be so constructive. Blow out your candles instead, and as you're doing so, realize we're all just trying to do our best in this crazy thing called life. Lastly, understand that marriage is not a well-defined box you have to live inside. You can change the rules to whatever works for you. I'm the founder and author of The Inspired. And just recently published part 2 of our 3-part series on why we get married. It's the history of marriage going back 10,000 years. And the findings were, to say the least, very surprising. https://www.theinspired.com/sin. Thanks. Hope that helped someone out there. Your own answer by Eileen Wood. What are the top things that a new couple should focus on early in their marriage? I'm going to assume the couple has spent their pre-marriage time working out things like how many kids to have, where they'll spend Christmas, with his folks or hers, and all those silly bits. So, in a marriage, what's important right from the start? Most marriages end due to money problems. The couple must get a handle on their money right from the start. They need to decide, and should have done before the wedding, how they're going to pool their money for common expenses. Will they each put their paychecks into a joint account? Will they each put only a portion in and keep the rest in separate accounts? Who's going to be responsible for actually writing the checks/making the payments? Frankly, this should be a joint event. Sit down one evening a month, or however often it needs to be done, and pay the bills together. My parents did that for decades. Mom wrote the checks and kept the checkbook balanced. Dad licked the stamps and envelopes. It kept him up to date on the family's financial situation, so he wasn't likely to go do something stupid without checking with Mom first to make sure that wasn't the day she had to pay my brother's huge dental bill. Another huge factor in ruining marriages is the in-laws. The couple must set boundaries right from the start. His mother cannot simply move in and take over. Neither can hers. And each spouse must be clear about this. Don't just sit back, seething with rage, until it boils over and you take a kitchen knife to Mom and your spouse. Each spouse must take the responsibility to say, Mom, sure you can come for a visit. How long will you be here? What? No, 6 months is a bit much. How about a week, instead? Well, I'm sorry you feel that way, but we just don't want long-term visitors. Big decisions must be made jointly. When you said I do, that's the last time I is a priority. After that, you become a we. And you have to do what's best for us now. That means, before you accept the job that will require you to pack up and move to another country, you must sit down with your spouse and discuss it. And when your spouse comes to you with this big decision, you must consider it from the standpoint of how it affects us, not me. Yeah, you might have to pack up and move to another country, away from Mom, Dad and everything you know. But so is your spouse. And if moving for 2 years means he or she will be the next CEO of the company, it's probably a worthwhile long-term investment. Plus, you'll have a really cool experience of getting to travel, explore new cultures, and meet new people. I guess, the short answer to the question is actually included in the last item. You're no longer an I, you're half of a we now. And everything you do has to be viewed from that vantage point. Sometimes, things won't be good for I, but they'll benefit me tremendously. And since we is a long-term goal, you have to look at everything from the long-term view. Yes, we will suffer in a small apartment right now, but when I finish medical school and become a doctor, we will be able to afford a really nice house. That's a long-term view.